Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvighna Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankara Acharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Padyantam Vande Gurubhyo Namaha. Namami Bhagavatam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishwaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshina Murti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrita Varshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandhadami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutah Stunmanti Divyaistavaihi Vedhai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Dadgatena Manasam Pashyanti Yam Yoginah Yasyantanna Vidhusura Suraganah Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Namaste once again, all of you. And request, please mark your attendance. So we are seeing the first chapter, which is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga means the despondency of Arjuna. Because this chapter slowly, builds up. Acharya looks like, the modern day producer, director of some films. So he gives a build-up first to the real message which he wants to come out with, which is the despondency of Arjuna, or the confusion, the delusion, the problem that Arjuna faces immediately as he enters the field of war. And we were seeing how this entire war could have been avoided if only Dhritarashtra had actually given proper advice, dharmic advice to his son Duryodhana, which he did not do. So that is what led to all these, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Yuyutsavah, those people ready to fight, assembled to fight with each other. Now, this Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre can be understood in a totally different way also. And Pujya Swamiji very nicely explains it. It can be looked at subjectively in relation to one's own self. This is the Vedantic interpretation. So there, the Kurukshetra will be the Karma Kshetra. The physical body is the Karma Kshetra. Because the human body is the place which is backed by free will, where all actions are done, all karmas are done. So it is a Karma Kshetra, this body. And the same Karma Kshetra or Kurukshetra, we can call it, is also a Dharma Kshetra, because the body is a result, is the effect of Dharma, Punya. We get a human body because of the predominance of Punya in our karma account. Those who have been, studied the law of karma along with me, they will understand how the human body takes place. So it's actually balance of punya and papa. When that comes, with punya being predominant, then we get a human body. That is how the law of karma works. So it is a punya kshetra, or we can call it dharma kshetra. So this body where all action is taking place, all karmas are being done, can be referred to as dharma kshetra and karma kshetra, or dharma punya kshetra and kurukshetra. This body can be referred, and that is what probably Acharya had in mind, because all those rishis and all, they convey the messages very subtly. Only people with that kind of intellect, with kind of background, will understand all these things. For us also, people like Adi Shankara, Puja Swamiji and all are there for us to understand and appreciate how to interpret these slokas from our own personal context. So this is called Punya Pradhana Kshetra, this body, right? And here there are two forces assembled always. And that is the Vidambana, that is the problem with all of us. One is the force of dharma, another is the force of adharma. Whether we should follow dharma or whether we should follow adharma is a constant conflict in our minds. In anything that we do. Here also in the Bhagavad Gita, this dharma is represented by the Pandavas, adharma is represented by the Kauravas, Asuras, you can call it that. Suras and Asuras, in Puranic literature, this was represented, dharma and adharma was represented by Suras and Asuras. Here it is Pandavas and Kauravas, and in our body, this dharma kshetra, kurukshetra, it is again a conflict between dharma and adharma. Okay, then this is the conflict we face every day, especially in Kali Yuga. This is becoming much and more prominent, rather, this conflict. Okay, so this Dhritarashtra was blind, but more than his eyes, his mind was blind. His mind was blind to dharma and also adharma. I mean, in the sense we can say that he was blind to both dharma and adharma. Okay, right and wrong. What does it mean? He lacked viveka, a discrimination. What is right, what is wrong? He lacked the discrimination. Right? And this lack of discrimination was inherited by his sons also, by Duryodhana and company. Right? So here, blindness that represents ignorance, and viveka, the discrimination, that actually represents the ability to discriminate. So blindness is ignorance, which is lack of discrimination, and viveka, that is the ability to discriminate, it is represented by in the Pandavas. And in Gita deals with two types of avivekas, two type of lack of discrimination. One is with relation to dharma and adharma. The another is relation to atma and anatma. These two types of lack of discrimination, which is the cause for samsara, is dealt with in this Bhagavad Gita. And that is why Bhagavad Gita is called both Yoga Shastra and also Brahma Vidya. Yoga Shastra refers to the lack of discrimination between, or rather Yoga Shastra teaches us how to discriminate between dharma and adharma, and Brahma Vidya teaches us how to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. And both these are very, very important if we have to gain self-knowledge, gain the Brahma Vidya, and attain moksha while living itself, Jivan Mukti. Right? So that is again symbolism, the blindness representing ignorance, So ignorance of Dhritarashtra and his Kauravas, we can interpret it that way also. And wherever there is ignorance, there is always a confusion, because confusion is born out of ignorance. Confusion about the values. There is always a fight between the inclinations towards dharma and towards adharma, as I told you. And only in a human being or an equivalent, this kind of a conflict is possible. Because animals and all, they don't have any dharma. They always follow their dharma because they are pre-programmed. Instinctively, they will do what is to be done for them. They can't change it. They don't have a free will. It is because of our free will, we are faced with this challenge. So while Bhagavan has given us certain situations based upon our own karmas, past karmas, he has also given us a free will to use it to deal with these situations. Okay. So a human being can deal with all these things only if he understands everything properly. So Dhritarashtra's question, what did Pandavas and my children and the Pandavas do in the Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, it represents a confusion about the values. Because as Pujya Swamiji says, an external problem will always come from an internal problem. All problems first start in our mind. And later on, they find expression outside of us, right? Without a conflict in the mind, there will be no external problem. If everybody in this society, in the world we live in, follows dharma, there won't be conflict at all. Forget their following Vishesha dharmas. Even Samanya dharmas, if they follow, there won't be any conflict. Ahimsa, Satyam, all those things, Samanya dharmas. If they follow also, nobody will fight against each other. It is only when this confusion about this following dharmas comes, this conflict arises. Okay. So what Gita is the message it is delivering is all internal conflicts can be resolved through self-knowledge, and that is the first step towards having a conflict-free society. Everybody should first, resolve their own internal conflicts. So once they are resolved, internal conflicts are resolved, there won't be any occasion for external conflicts at all. And from this perspective, the chariot of Arjuna, with Krishna as the charioteer, can be seen in terms of the self-knowledge unfolded by the Upanishads and the Gita. But I think I have mentioned this earlier also. This imagery of this chariot representing the various faculties of a human being is taken from Upanishads, Kathopanishad. There, the physical body is compared to a chariot. Ratha. It's called Ratha Kalpana in Kathopanishad. And so physical body is the chariot. The intellect, the buddhi, is the driver of this chariot. In this case, it is Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna, Sarathi. The self, that is the Jivatma, is the Swami, the master seated in the back seat of the chariot, who is actually the one who is driving the whole chariot, or who is directing, giving directions to the charioteer. And the mind is likened to the reins of the horses, the reins which control the horses. And the horses represent the sense organs. And the sense objects are all like the roads, as it were. I mean, all these are imagery. where the sense objects go on those roads, sense organs go on those sense objects on those roads. So naturally, I mean, when the chariot has to run, it has to run on the road. So the roads are sense objects, and the horses are the horses are the sense organs, and the mind is the reins. Okay, mind is likened to the reins, and the reins are in whose hands? In the hands of Buddhi, the driver. So the horses, that is our sense organs, our sense faculties, all these 5 sense faculties. In fact, 10 you can say, 5 jnanendriyas and 5 karmendriyas, all these. They are all held in check by the charioteer, the Buddhi. On the direction given by the Rathaswami, the Atma, the Jivatma, the Rathaswami, the intellect drives these chariots in the correct path, in the correct road. By holding the reins, by managing all the conflicts in the mind, he drives the chariot. And he is a skilled Buddhi, he is a skilled charioteer. If the reins, for a skilled charioteer, even if he lets go the reins for some time, still he will be able to control the chariot in the correct route. As we have seen, many of us who drive, when we are driving on a long stretch of road, many times we will take our hands off the steering, still the car will be running straight. That's a skill with which we know that we can assess that now this chariot, this car will not go this side, that side, it will go straight. But of course, for that, all the parts of the car have to be correct, they have to be tuned, well tuned. Similarly, this charioteer, this intellect, even if it lets go of the sense organs to do their own, they would have been so trained that they will actually go in the right direction only. So the body as the chariot and the intellect as your driver, you seated in the back seat are out in this world. That is our situation of each one of us. If your viveka or discrimination is not available to you, it is because your intellect, your driver is confused. He doesn't know what is dharma, adharma, what is right and wrong. And when that happens, you know what will happen to the chariot. What will happen to the horses? They will all run in their own courses rather, which will lead to total chaos. And so we can now bring this entire imagery to the first chapter of Gita. And that is why I think Vyasacharya set this whole Bhagavad Gita teaching, which is nothing but the teaching of the Vedas and Upanishads, in a capsule form with this Ratha Kalpana, which is taken from this Kathopanishad. So the subtle message is, if you have Bhagavan, the Paramatma as your charioteer, hand over the reins of your horses, hand over the control of your mind, the control of your sense organs to Bhagavan, you don't need to worry about anything in this world. The life will go on smoothly. Right? So that bhakti aspect also we can bring into this entire Ratha Kalpana. Okay. So here Krishna is the Guru. The intellect represents the Buddhi. He keeps the horses under control by thereby keeping the chariot also under control. And Krishna, being a Jnani himself, his mind and senses are under his control. He has got full viveka. Viveka, Vairagya, everything is there. So he has absolute mastery over all his internal, instrument, Antakarana. And therefore, he represents an ideal teacher. A teacher should have, we have seen the qualification of a teacher a couple of classes ago. This is the qualification of the teacher. He himself first should be able to have control over his and discriminate. He should have Viveka, enough Viveka and Vairagya. And when you are exposed to that teaching, your buddhi or intellect that assumes the very form of teaching. Of course, serious students I am talking about. Right? Therefore, when the Guru's buddhi or the Guru's teaching is taking place, your buddhi and the Guru's buddhi become one and the same. And the Guru's buddhi is telling you, Tattvamasi, you are that, thou are that. And in the case of Gita, the Guru buddhi turns to Arjuna and tells him, Tattvamasi. But Arjuna is representing a confused Antakarana. Total confusion. Dharma, adharma, as I explained in the last class, he has lost the discrimination between what is dharma and adharma. What he considered as dharma all along suddenly appears to him as adharma. And what he considers to be adharma suddenly appears to him as dharma. We will see Arjuna's arguments to Krishna as to why this war is a adharmic war, not a dharmic war. He will say so many things to Krishna. And Guru Krishna patiently listens to him till the second chapter. Then only he talks. Okay. So, this Bhagavad Gita teaching can be represented through this Krishna Arjuna chariot symbolism or imagery itself. So this is the first sloka introduction. Rather, it is a little involved introduction. I have touched upon many topics in that, of course, guided by Swami Paramarthananda's talks and also Puja Swamiji's talks. Rather. But this background is necessary for us to relate how the Bhagavad Gita teaching is applicable to each one of us in our day-to-day life. Okay. So now let us go back to Bhagavad Gita and then see what response Sanjaya is giving to Dhritarashtra for his question, Kimakurvata, for that. So this is the second sloka. Sanjaya uvacha drishtva tu pandava nikam vyudham duryodhanastada acharya upasangamya raja vachanam abravit. So Sanjaya is replying to Dhritarashtra. So the Anvaya is Sanjaya uvacha tadatu Pandava anikam vyudham drishtva raja duryodhanaha acharyam upasangamya, you can add within bracket idam vachanam abravit. Sanjaya uvacha means Sanjaya said. Okay. What did he say? Tadatu. But then Pandava Anikam, the army of Pandavas. Anikam means the army. I will tell you what is Anikam. I'll explain it. Vyudham, in battle formation. The army of Pandavas in battle formation. Drishtva, having seen. So, seeing the army of Pandavas in battle formation, Raja Duryodhana, Duryodhana the king, King Duryodhana, Acharyam, the teacher, here it is reference to Dronacharya, Upasangamya, approaching, Idam, this, Vachanam, words, or Idam Vachanam, these words, Abravit, spoke. So Sanjaya said, after the question from Dhritarashtra, he says that seeing the army of the Pandavas in battle formation, King Duryodhana approached his teacher, Dronacharya, and said these words. So what words he said will come in the third sloka. But let's understand this sloka's context. This sloka is very important for us to peep into the character of Duryodhana. The first one we had a glimpse of Dhritarashtra's character. This sloka gives us a glimpse into Duryodhana's character. Okay. Here, when we see the next 3-4 slokas, we will realize that this action of Duryodhana on approaching Dronacharya and saying whatever he said to him, that reflects a character which is beset with arrogance, conceit, irreverence, cunningness, and also to some extent nervousness. Because anybody going into a war, for that matter, any conflict, nobody goes into a fight with total confidence. They may have confidence, but there will be a sense of nervousness. Whatever may be, even Wimbledon singles and all that, they enter the championship finals. Both the players will have some kind of nervousness, because we are nervous because we can probably know what we can do, but we do not know how Daivam, the unseen factors will play out, during that event. So the nervousness is bound to be there. So Duryodhana had that nervousness also, and seeing such a huge army of Pandavas. And here what we have to note is that Sanjaya is referring to Duryodhana as Raja, the king. And he is telling whom? Dhritarashtra. Who is the king? So as I told you, Dhritarashtra only was a de facto king. It was Duryodhana who was actually ruling. He was king as if king, rather. So Sanjaya, knowing this fact, what exactly is the status of Duryodhana? And not only that, if Duryodhana was the prince, he is going to be the king after Dhritarashtra. So you tell your son is a king, Dhritarashtra will be happy, his ego will be boosted. Okay. So he refers to him as king, Raja Duryodhana. So Duryodhana has actually inspected all the armies, both the armies, especially that of Pandavas, because he may want to see who are all there in Pandavas' side. Because when this war was about to break out, typically all the kings at that time joined one of the two parties. There were some neutral kings, but they are not talked about. But many of the kings, very, very, valorous kings rather, they all joined either the Pandavas or the Kauravas for their own reasons. That's we see today also in politics, what is happening. Same thing. We have learned from that only, Mahabharata only. Okay. And Duryodhana actually had collected a lot of support. Because whenever the war is going to break out, these kings and all, they will go out and, gather support for their own side. But he feels that there may be some people whom he has omitted who have joined the opposite side. And he may also want to know that some people have refused to join him and join the opposite side. Who are they? So all these he would have seen as he inspected the armies. So Raja Duryodhana Pandava Anikam Vyudham Drishtva. So Raja Duryodhana, after inspecting the army and battle formation of the Pandavas, Anikam means army. Okay. Vyudham is well arranged battle formation. As per the Yuddha Shastra, there was a Yuddha Shastra was there. So the battle formation, different kinds of formations are there. This Vyudham. Vyudham is a word, but it's also called Vyuham. We must all have heard Chakra Vyuham and all that, correct? These are all formations. In Sanskrit, the Ha becomes Dha because of a one grammar rule. So that's why it's called Vyudham here. Okay. So there are varieties of these Vyuhams. It's a particular manner. Those who have an army background will know all this, what I am talking about. There's a Padma Vyuham, Chakra Vyuham, Garuda Vyuham. So many Vyuhams are talked about in the Shastras. They are tactical positioning. And they are meant to trap the enemies. Those who have heard the Mahabharata story would have known how Abhimanyu was trapped in one Vyuha. Abhimanyu was the son of Arjuna. He was trapped in Chakra Vyuha. He knew how to go in, but he could not come out of that formation. Eventually, he was killed. Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu. Young fellow, very great warrior. Okay. So, this is what is the Vyudham is about. So, Drishtva having seen, Acharya Upasangamya, approached the Acharya was Dronacharya. And his Guru also, not only Guru in while learning, but Guru also here, because Dronacharya was fighting on the side of Duryodhana. Guru in Yuddha Shastra. And approaching him, Vachanam Abravit, he said these words. In this sloka, even though the word Duryodhana Uvacha is not mentioned, we have to supply it, because what is going to come is the quote unquote of Duryodhana's words. But the Bhagavad Gita, Acharya has not said Duryodhana. We have seen Sanjay Uvacha, Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Later on, we will see Arjuna Uvacha, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, so many there. But here, even though what is being said is Duryodhana's word, the Duryodhana Uvacha is missing in the Bhagavad Gita text. So we have to supply it, Duryodhana Uvacha. Okay. What did Duryodhana say? Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. This is what? The words of Duryodhana. Anvaya is, Hey Acharya, Tava Dhimata Shishyena Drupada Putrena Vyudham Panduputranam Etam Mahatim Chamum Pashya. Pashya, Hey Acharya, Hey Dronacharya, Pashya, may you see. So the main sentence is, Hey Acharya, Etam Mahatim Chamum Pashya. This is the main sentence. So he says, Hey Acharya, O teacher, O Dronacharya, Tava Dhimata Sishyena, by your brilliant disciple, by your brilliant student. Who is he? Drupada Putrena, who is the son of Drupada. Vyudham, this battle formation. Panduputrana, of the sons of Pandu. Etam, this. Mahatim Chamu, the great army. Pashya, please look at it. May you look at it. So this is where, Duryodhana's character is slowly getting revealed. He says, Oh teacher, please look at this great army of the sons of Pandu, formed and led by your brilliant disciple, the son of Drupada. So here, very few points we have to note. That after seeing the army, Duryodhana goes to Dronacharya. Dronacharya was not the commander-in-chief of Duryodhana's army. It was Bhishmacharya who was the commander-in-chief. So if at all he wanted to discuss some strategy about the war and all that, he should have gone to Bhishmacharya. He doesn't do that. He goes to Dronacharya. Why? Question. Okay. So, one of the reasons we can say is before starting the war, he wanted to take the blessings of his guru, Dronacharya, so he approached him. We can take that positively rather, right? Because he is the one who taught him warfare, so he wanted to take his blessings. But that does not seem to be the case, because what Duryodhana said is nowhere he is asking for the blessings. He doesn't say, Guruji, please bless me, I am getting into this war. He doesn't say that. So another possibility is Duryodhana approached Dronacharya first because he was actually sure about Bhishma being on his side. And he had appointed Bhishma as the commander-in-chief also. Dronacharya initially, he did not join the war. He joined the war on Duryodhana's side only for one reason. Drupada, who was the father-in-law of the Pandavas, having they married Draupadi, he was the sworn enemy of Dronacharya. So what Dronacharya wanted to fight with Drupada and finish him off. That is the reason why he joined Duryodhana. Otherwise, both the sides, Duryodhana was also his student. Pandavas were also, Arjuna was also his student. In fact, Arjuna during learning school days, Gurukulam days, was more favorite of Dronacharya than Duryodhana. And Duryodhana, that is why he had a lot of jealousy towards Arjuna, because the Acharya always, supported Arjuna. Dronacharya knew Arjuna's, greatness rather in archery. Still, he joined Duryodhana's side because he wanted to wreak vengeance against Drupada. We will come to that story a little later if I get an opportunity. Briefly, I will tell you the story also. So that is another reason he joined Duryodhana. But having said that, many of the other disciples were there still. So Duryodhana might have had a feeling that what if in the middle of the war, this fellow drops everything, goes and joins the other side. Isn't it? So he wanted to probably approach Dronacharya to reassure him that, I am with you, you are with me, let us do it together, kind of a thing. So this is another possibility of Duryodhana having first approached Dronacharya. As I said, Dronacharya's allegiance might become shaky, he might have felt that. Okay. And also probably Duryodhana wanted to instill a sense of hatred in Dronacharya against the Pandavas, so that any feeling or sentiment in favor of Pandavas does not arise in Dronacharya's mind. And that is why he refers to Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna was the son of Drupada. He says Drupadasya putra, right? His name was Drishtadyumna. And Drishtadyumna was the commander-in-chief of the Pandavas army. He is the one who has actually done all the battle formation for the Pandavas. Okay. So he was the son of Drupada. And Duryodhana knew that Drona and Drupada, as I told you, were sworn enemies. And therefore, he subtly tries to remind Dronacharya about that enmity, that this is your opposite people, right? So you must have hatred towards him. That is, he doesn't say it in so many words, but that is his intention. And for those of you who do not know this Dronacharya and Drupada fight, I'll just briefly tell the story. Actually, Dronacharya and Drupada, during their student days, they were studying in the same Gurukula and they're very thick friends. Very thick friends. And on one occasion, Drupada, he told Dronacharya that if ever I become a king, I will give 50% of that kingdom to you. Friends, between themselves, they talk so many things, Many friends, I'll say, I will not get married before you get married. So many promises they make between each other. So here also, Drupada made a promise to Dronacharya that I will give 50% of my kingdom to you. Dronacharya took that very seriously. He was a poor Brahmin, actually. Dronacharya was a poor Brahmin. He did not even at that time, he was only learning rather. Only later on, when he did not have anything to do, then he came to Hastinapur and offered to teach these Pandavas and Kauravas, archery and all that. Because he was a skilled archer, archer. So this promise was taken seriously by Dronacharya. Then, of course, time passed. Eventually, Drupada became the king. At that time, Dronacharya went and asked Drupada, you promised me during our Gurukula days 50% of your kingdom, please give me now. Drupada laughed at him. He said, what are you talking? So I might have said so many things during our school days. It was a friendship and all that. I am the king. I cannot part with my kingdom unless somebody comes and fights and takes it away from me. How can I part with that? What are you talking? It is against Raja Dharma. Dronacharya was very upset. He said, no, Raja Dharma is also that when you actually promise, you have to fulfill your promises. But Drupada said, I made the promise. I was not a king at that time. I was only a student. Now I am the king. I have to protect my land. I can't give it away to you. Dronacharya was very upset. And he told Drupada, I will seek revenge from you. So what Dronacharya did, one of the reasons why he went to Hastinapur and wanted to teach this art of warfare to Arjuna, Pandavas and Kauravas was he wanted to prepare an army to defeat Drupada and take away his kingdom. So what he did, he prepared and then finally he told Arjuna, as a guru, I am telling you, go and fight against Drupada and win over him and take his kingdom. Arjuna went, fought with Drupada and arrested Drupada, made him, what they call, what do they call that? War.
Prisoner of war.
Prisoner of war.
Prisoner of war. Okay. And brought him before Drupada, before Dronacharya. Okay. So this is all Panchala is the country, is the nation or country or whatever you call. That's why Draupadi is also called Panchali. Panchali is another name for Draupadi because he is from Panchala nation. Okay. So, brought him as a prisoner rather. And Drona had his revenge and took away half of Drupada's kingdom and then released him because that was what he wanted. Now it was Drupada's turn to seek revenge, isn't it? He did a big yaga and he prayed for a daughter and a son in that yaga to avenge his humiliation at the hands of Dronacharya. See how the whole thing gets connected, Mahabharata. How Draupadi got into Pandavas. That also was a step to wreak revenge against Dronacharya. This is how karma acts, And Draupadi was in another way responsible for the whole war, isn't it? So that I will not go into that story. It won't be Bhagavad Gita, I will be teaching you Mahabharata. Okay. So Draupadi came out of that yaga, and Drishtadyumna also came out of that yaga. Now the irony is, Dronacharya knew all this. Drishtadyumna has been born to avenge Draupadi, his fight against Dronacharya and take revenge for the defeat of Drupada. He knew that. But Drishtadyumna approaches Dronacharya to teach him warfare. Can you imagine situation? And Dronacharya teaches him. In fact, Drishtadyumna turns out to be a very, very brilliant student of Dronacharya. Now, we may ask, in today's situation, we may ask a question. Having known that this person has been born through a yaga, through a divine intervention to kill me, should I teach him warfare? The answer is, that is the Guru Dharma. A Guru Dharma, any fit, eligible, qualified student approaches a Guru, he has to give him the teaching to his best ability, keeping aside all his personal issues. That is the Guru Dharma. So Dronacharya, when Drishtadyumna approached Dronacharya, he did exactly that. He taught him and made him a very brilliant fighter. And that is why Pandavas appointed him as the commander-in-chief. Because they had the confidence in his ability to conduct a big war. And that is what Duryodhana is now pointing out. He is telling Dronacharya, you see, your brilliant student is on the other side. Huh? He is the one who has actually prepared all this to fight you. Taunting Dronacharya, another character of Duryodhana. Instead of approaching the Guru with reverence, he approaches him with irreverence, without any reverence, no respect that he was a Guru. On the contrary, he is taunting him. Your, most brilliant Shishya is on the other side. Have you seen that army? The huge army, battle formation done by your brilliant student. This happens in our house also, isn't it? Suppose the son does something wrong. What will the father say? The husband will say, why? Your brilliant son has done this. Huh? You are used to this taunting business. But suppose the son scores very high marks, he becomes, some gold medalist. My son has got gold medal. This is our psychology, and we are all Duryodhanas, Arjunas, all put together. Different times we play different roles of what is there in Mahabharata. That's all. Okay. So this is what Duryodhana is saying. So Panduputrana Mahatim Chamum Pashya. See this huge army of Pandavas, which is Drupada Putrena Vyudham, which is arranged in battle formation by Drishtadyumna, who is, his name is not taken, but Drupada Putra means Drishtadyumna, referring to Drishtadyumna. Tava Dhimata Sishyena, by your brilliant student. Dhimata means brilliant. Okay. So this is the taunting tone which is he talks. And they are all arrayed to kill you, Dronacharya. You see, this is Drupada who is taking revenge. This is not a war between me and Arjuna. This is not a war between Pandavas and Kauravas. This is actually you, from your perspective, Dronacharya, you must look at it as a war between you and Drupada. Drupada has, through his son, come back to seek revenge from you. So this much, he is what they call, these days mind games. That's what they say, before this cricket match and things like that and all, these players play mind games so that to weaken the resolve or the other party or whatever it is. So
psychological warfare.
Sorry?
Psychological warfare.
Psychological warfare. So he is preparing Dronacharya, making sure that Dronacharya under no circumstances leaves his side and goes to the other side. That is his whole approach. And in this also, as Swami Paramatanda says, that this we are also doing. Many people join some company and then they learn all the tricks. Then they will set up one more company which will be a competitor to this company. So that is what Duryodhana is hinting rather. Again, we might have imbibed this in this Kali Yuga from that practice which was there. Like Drishtadumna learned from the Dronacharya and now he is competing with him, going to fight him. Okay. So, and also, of course, Duryodhana knows Dronacharya was a very good, skillful, archer. His services, if it is on Duryodhana's side, will certainly have a very big impact on Duryodhana retaining the throne. That also he knew. Okay. So, with these words, Duryodhana continues. What does he say? So, after showing this Pandavas army, Duryodhana now proceeds to mention in the next 3 slokas the names of the principal warriors in the Pandavas army. Also, we will take those 3 slokas together. I won't go into much detail because there's just names, but I will explain, some significant about some of the principal players, who were they, what were their, contribution, or what was the valor and all that. Okay. I will read all the 3 slokas together, but I will give you Anvaya, single Anvaya for the 3 slokas. Okay. Atra Shura Maheshvasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhe Yuyudhano Virathascha Drupadascha Maharatah Drishtaketuschekitanah Kashirajasya Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Shaivyascha Narapungavah Yudhamanyuscha Vikranta Uttamaujascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarvayeva Maharatha. These are the 3 slokas. So Anvaya is Atra Bhima Arjuna Samaha Yudhi Shuraha Maha Ishu Asaha Maharataha Yuyudhanaha Virataha Drupadaha Drishtaketuhu Chekitanaha Viryavan Kashirajaha Purujit Kuntibhojaha Narapungavaha Shaibyaha Vikrantaha Yudhamanyuhu Viryavan Uttamaujaha Saubhadraha Draupadeyaha cha within bracket Santi Sarve Maharataha Eva. This is the Anvaya of these 3 slokas together. So Duryodhana's words are continuing as he is now enlisting the important warriors, the powerful soldiers in the Pandavas army. And who are they? Because as I told you, Dronacharya joined Duryodhana's army very late. He did not join Duryodhana's army in the beginning. Only when he learned that on the other side is this Drupada and his son Drishtadumna, he joined Duryodhana's army. So Duryodhana might have thought that I must actually tell Dronacharya who are all we are up against. Tell them who are the kings on the other side who are there. Later on, he will tell about his own side also to Dronacharya. Okay, first he tells Pandava's side. So I'll just start the meaning. Suppose there are, let me see whether finished. Not, I won't take much time. Atra means in this army. Shura Maheshwasa. Shura means many valiant warriors, archers. Maheshwasa, Maha Ishu Asa. Maha Ishu means the great bows, right? Who are wielding. Asa means wielding. Powerful bows they are wielding. But those days it was bows and arrows fight, mainly. So Ishu means a bow. Maha means you can say huge or powerful, great. Asa can be taken as wielding. So those who are wielding powerful bows, which are received from great sources, including divine sources. Those were the, when people used to do tapas and get these bows as, from devatas. Arjuna's bow, for example, is called Gandiva. So there are many stories about all these bows. When we see the Puranas and all that, Itihasa, we will know about a lot of this. How bows were very important. Okay. And even each person has a special conch, to blow. Shankha. And that was all part of the war equipment. Today we are giving, all this, so many things to the army people. It's like that they used to give all these things. So before a person, a soldier started to fight, he would work himself up by blowing the trumpet, which will be telling himself with more of a auto suggestion, I am ready to fight now. Give up my life. That is the most important thing. Fight, and even if required, give up my life. I will take so many lives, but even if I have to give up my life, it doesn't matter. So in order to work himself up, he will blow the trumpet. Okay. And that from there only probably blowing your own horn, that expression in English came, I don't only one blowing your own horn. So this probably was a practice in all the battles in Europe also, not only in Mahabharata. Okay. And these conches also, these Shankas had their own names also. Right? Arjuna's Shanka had a name, Krishna's Shanka had a name. We will see those names later. Okay. So there were people in the Pandavas army who had very great bows, very, very powerful, huge and powerful bows. So the people, it's not that the bows were very great. The people who wielded those bows, they were great warriors. Okay. And he starts by saying, Bhima Arjuna Samaha. Those warriors who are having these powerful bows are no less than Bhima and Arjuna in warfare, in their fighting skills. Bhima represents strength and Arjuna represents skillful archery. So all these people had both strength and also skillful archery, stamina to fight. Yudhi means in warfare. And they are Maharathas or Maharati, also you can call. A Maharati means a great charioteer. Ratha means chariot, right? Maharati means a great charioteer. It's not that every person in the army had their own charioteer like Arjuna had Krishna, right? Many people will drive their own chariot, many soldiers, warriors, and then fight also. Okay, so they are all called Maharathis. And it is a title given to the soldiers based upon their accomplishment and their capacity to fight. It is just like we have got brigadier, major general, so many, lieutenant general, all that, titles are there in today's army rather. And different, army has different, navy has different, air force has different titles rather. So similarly, they also had Ardharati, then Rati, then Maharati, Adhirati. Those titles were all there in those times. Okay. So who is a Maharatha? we will see in the next class, and the other continue with these slokas. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Hari
Thank
Om.
you, Guruji.
So any questions are there, please?
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari
Guruji.
Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghuji. Namaskar.
Namaskar. See you next Saturday. Huh?
Tomorrow. See you
Tomorrow, Vishnu Sahasranam. Yes.
I mean, when I say see you, mean to meet with you.
When I say see you means I am addressing the Bhagavad Gita students.
I am saying some.
Bhagavad Gita, see you next Saturday.
The subject is different.
Sorry.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Raghu.
Yeah. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Raghuji.
Thank you. So if there are any questions are there?
Thank you, Guruji.
Raise your hands. Nobody has raised the hand so far. So if it is not there, then we can close the session. Is that? Okay, Lata ji, can we close? And Sulekha ji? Hari Om. Okay, thank you very much. See you next Saturday. Thank you.